Hi, I'm Wendy with Spyglass Gardens in Meridian, Idaho, and this is the time of year we start seeds. So today I thought it would be fun to show you how to use a tube tray to start multiple types of seeds this time of year. So I'm going to begin with, I've already put soil in we call it potting soil. We are an all-natural farm, so we use no harmful chemicals or pesticides. We do use an amazing compost that's actually made not too far from here, and it's USDA certified. So I actually have regular potting soil in here that we've put in, and then I have top treated it with the compost. I did not mix it all the way together with that, and I was very, very careful of how much I put in there. You don't want to overload your compost on a little tiny seed. They can't take all of that nutrition all at once. So I'm just kind of tamping it down, leaving that almost like a little furrow out in the field. Okay, I'm just kind of creating a little bed, tamping that down. This tube tray saves you lots of room, and you can grow a multiple amounts of different varieties within one tray, and then you're going to take these out when they're ready, after they get about their second set of true leaves, and you can transplant them into a regular seed tray, which obviously has a bigger cell. This one has a compostable inner lining, and from there it can just go right in your flower bed or in the field. So some of these will probably stay in this tray until they're ready to go into our raised beds. So we're going to start off with a really tiny seed. Tarragon and a lot of your other woody herbs are tiny seeds. They're even smaller than a poppy seed. So I have some in an envelope here. We save some seeds. We don't save a lot. I'm not going to plant all the tarragon at once because I'm going to plant some more later on. I want 2 sets of aged plants. So you can see how tiny these little seeds are. And like I said, they're pretty small. So there's a couple of ways of doing it. There are some little seeding type gizmos that you can get. You can use your fingers like I am. We've been doing this 19 years out here at the farm. So I can feel as I go through. You can actually add sand to some of your seeds. That's how we plant our carrot seed, is with a little bit of sand. And I can feel that as one little seed leaves my hand. So I'm putting approximately 25 seeds, maybe 30 in this. What's neat about a woody herb is that you can actually separate them really easy when you go to transplant them, and it doesn't bother them at all. So I'm going to kind of do, that's our second row. I only really want 3 rows, so I got a little bit more here than I want. So I'm just going to kind of go all the way down here. Just need a couple more, and then we'll return this back to the envelope. And when you've got your seeds, you want to keep them in a cool, dry, out of sun place. So if you save seeds, make sure that you put them in a container and mark them and date them. So I'm going to go to the next size. Now we know that we stopped right there, okay? And before I go on any farther, excuse me, let me get my pen. There it is. It was right on the counter until I used it.
Almost got it.
There you go. Okay, so I'm going to mark that was tarragon. And we use duct tape. Anyway, it makes it simple and it's really waterproof. So I can put on here tarragon, and I can put today's date, 2/4. So I know that row is my tarragon. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to do some kale. This is purple vein kale, Russian kale, a lot of people call it. It's absolutely delicious. This is a round seed. Your broccoli, your cabbage, a lot of your cold crop seeds are round, and they'll only produce 1 plant. So I don't want to overload this, and these are really easy to plant. You can get, some companies will actually have pelted seed, which is totally fine. There's lots of pelted seed out there that's organic. All it is just encased in a little bit of clayish like soil. And so as I'm going along here, I'm just feeling that seed roll out of my finger. And I just need a couple more. because I'm going to plant some more kale in a couple of weeks, just like we did our broccoli. I don't want all of my plants to be mature at the same time. So, and I'm going to put R for Russian kale right here. Okay, so we know that those two are right there. Now, one of my favorites is spinach. Spinach is a corm, looks like beets. These actually can produce 2 plants. Beets can produce up to 3. And so again, you don't want to crowd. You want to make sure that you put them a good space apart. When you're using a tube tray, it's really easy to overload them. And you're kind of wasting seeds when you do that because the plants can't grow if they're crowded. Now, we do plant our petunia and a lot of our woody herbs a little tighter, but you can do that. You just have to separate them when you go to do your transplanting. And so we're just going to go right on down the line. And if you get 1 or 2 in one hole, just simply grab it and put it in the other one. I'm going to do quite a bit of spinach. We've got a raised bed that we want to get this going, and by pre-starting you get a little bit of jump on the weather, and we're going to show you how to do that once they get up a little bit bigger. Show you how to harden off your plants. You don't just stick them out in the cold. We grow all of the vegetables from seed in our greenhouse. Oops, there we go, he's fine. And this time of year, it's way too cold to go heat the greenhouse for a simple dozen trays. So we actually do this in our office with some growing lights. And it's economical because we're already heating the house. And we're here to watch over them. At the end of February, we start heating the big greenhouse. I'm going to do one more little guy here. There. And then I'm going to pick that one up. And I'm going to pick that one up. So this is kind of where you can thin if you need to. And make sure when you know you only want 1 more row, then kind of go back through and make sure that you didn't overload that row. The plants will just grow better. Perfect. 1 more, right there. And then just return the rest of them to the pouch. Now we will actually be starting some more spinach in 2 weeks and every 2 weeks after that. So, because that's a good spring crop. Now you've got this done. Mark your spot and then put what you planted. We only grow 1 variety, so it's not necessary to say what it is. Now you want to cover your seeds, so make sure that you tamp them down. Again, just use the side of your hand. That's what's kind of nice about these tube trays. Works really well. My 4-year granddaughter, she's only 4 and she loves to plant in these. It's a fun project for kids. Make sure that those seeds are down and then you're going to cover them. Make them all happy. Just take that extra soil, put on top, and then you need just a little bit more, which I have right here in a bucket. This particular soil comes from Canada, Sungrow. There's a lot of good potting soils out there. Just don't buy the potting soil that has a bunch of wood in it. It's not fun to work with. So I break up those little clods. The white stuff is perlite. It just helps the moisture and helps keep air in the soil. You can use vermiculite too if you're careful. There. Now we're going to water these in. And one of the little sprayers I like, you can get these at any nursery, big box building center stores have them too. They're wonderful. They come in 1 gallon or 2 gallon. The 1 gallon is sufficient. You just merely prime it by pumping air into it. And then you just hit the button and it sprays them. Now this is super gentle. And once these little guys start popping up out of the soil and they start sprouting, you don't want to hit them with a big old drop of water. You want to hit them with just a little bit of a mist. Some of these plants we won't even water on top. And I'll show you what we do. So my soil was already moist a little bit before I started. So this is all that I'm going to put on it. I'm not going to drench it. Doesn't need to be. And we're actually going to put a little grow lid on. And then we'll set it underneath the light. Make sure that when you're looking at the back of your seed pouch that you see if it needs light for germination or if it can grow in the dark. If you're letting it grow in the dark, it means total darkness. If it gets any light whatsoever, they'll get leggy and they'll just kind of try to find the sun. So we use lights, and we use LED lights. Works really well. They have varieties everywhere of the all white and the multicolored. They work really well, and they really keep that plant down where it needs to be. So we'll get this all set up, and I'm going to put it over here with our other little guys. I wanted to show you a couple of different options of watering. So we do have the mister available. So like this, you just don't pour water on. You need to be gentle with your seeds and with your little tiny plants. Some plants would really prefer to be bottom watered. So these trays and all of the trays that we use to start our seeds with are actually doubled. We have a seed tray that has no holes in it in the bottom. And then I use a typical, like kind of a basket weave tray underneath these, because there can be kind of flimsy. So you set both of these down in there. You put the water in here. And you have to put a fair amount of water in. Okay, and then you're going to set the whole system down in here. Now what that will do, you want to make sure that when you do that, this is wet. Not sopping wet, but it is moist. As the soil dries, it'll wick up from the bottom. And so some of the little plants, they would rarely have that as a benefit. I do that in our office so I don't get water all over the floor. Thank you.